Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Mukesh English. This is Mukesh Soni. Friends, in this video we are going to have a discussion of the second semester BCom BBA Generic English solved question paper, the question paper of August 2023 examination under Bangalore North University. We are going to have a discussion of BNU question paper of August 2023 second semester BCom BBA Generic English. To begin with, the section A consists 40 marks under workbook. Question number one, you have to see this image and you need to write the caption. So according to me, it could be the caption like, let's rise now. So this question is for 2 marks. Next, give a suitable title for the following passage. You read this passage and you need to develop a title. You need to give a suitable title. After reading the passage, I find that the title could be Functions of Home, and this question is for 1 mark. Up next, complete the sentences with a word derived from the word given in the bracket. 2 questions, 2 marks. Number 1, the principal announced the establish of a new department, establishment. Next, lack of money led to the cancel of the plan, cancellation. So establish, establishment, cancel, cancellation. Next, synonym. You need to find the synonym of the underlined word. It's a gloomy day. So synonym of gloomy is here option number 2 or option number first, dark. The synonym of gloomy is dark. Next, the synonym of enormous is big. Up next, homonym. Indians have a fair chance of winning the match. F-A-I-R, F-A-R-E. So the correct answer is here F-A-I-R, fair chance, not F-A-R-E. Then he was bored of sitting at home, B-O-R-E-D, not B-O-A-R-D, bored, B-O-R-E-D, 2 marks. Next, collocation. So take a holiday or get a holiday. So answer is here, take a holiday. Rakshit had intended to take a holiday in New York. Next, gives a hand, takes a hand. He always gives a hand to anyone in difficulty, gives a hand. There's 4 collocations for 2 marks. Next, identify the meaning of the words from the passage. So let's read this small passage. He has problems with his eyes, so he took an appointment with an ophthalmologist. Ophthalmologist. He prescribed some eye drops and advised him to take rest. So an eye doctor, answer is here ophthalmologist, ophthalmologist. Difficulties, meaning is here the problems. So we need to find the word which has the meaning in the particular passage, 2 marks. Next, answer the following 6 questions from listening, speaking skills or communication skills. Name any 2 barriers to listening: cultural barrier, psychological barrier, physiological barrier, tone of voice, information overload. How do personal anxieties offer listening? Personal anxiety causes the listener to focus on his or her own thoughts rather than the speaker's words. Third question, what is nonverbal communication? Nonverbal communication is the transfer of information from one person to another person without using the words or any spoken language. For example, using eye contact, facial expression, movement, posture, gesture. So it's also known as the body language. Non-verbal communication also has a meaning of body language. So now define a visual sign, give an example. So visual communication is the usage of visual elements to convey ideas and information, which include sign, typography, drawing, graphic design, illustration, industrial design, advertising, animation, electronic resources. So humans have always used visual communication since prehistoric times. What do you mean by gestures? Gesture is a movement of the body or the limbs that expresses or emphasizes an idea or a feeling. Why is eye contact important in communication? Making an eye contact helps both people focus on the conversation and read the facial expressions. So these are the 6 questions from listening skills and verbal non-verbal communication topics, and each for 1 marks, totally 6 marks. Now, passive voice. My father planted this tree. So what is a passive voice? This tree was planted by my father. Next, he sings songs. Songs are sung by him. Next, he is living, he is giving a lecture. So it's in the present continuous tense. A lecture is being given by him. A lecture is being given by him. And the fourth one, he will deliver the letters. The letters will be delivered by him. So these are the questions from active to passive voice, 4 marks. Next, direct indirect speech. Father, what's your goal? Son, I want to become a teacher. Father, why? It's very interesting job. Now convert into the indirect speech. Father asked son what his goal was. Son replied that he wanted to become a teacher. Father asked the reason. Son replied that it was an interesting job. So reported speech for 4 marks. Now write a dialogue between two friends about planning to go on a trip. So friend one says, hey, have you ever thought about going on a trip somewhere? Actually, I have been thinking about it a lot lately. I could really use a break. Friend one, same here. How about we plan to go a trip together? So like this, you can go through this dialogue on screen. So like this, you need to develop a dialogue between two friends who are planning to go on a on a trip. So when you are planning for, when you are constructing dialogues, keep in the mind that there should not be any grammatical error, use the punctuation properly, and moreover, the dialogue should be very simple, quite informal, so that you can get the best marks. And this question has a weightage of 3 marks. You can go through the answer on screen. Next, write a news report on an accident using the following hints. So this is for 5 marks, very important question. So if you have a hint on a screen here, Bangalore, July 16th accident between lorry and two passengers died, including auto driver, 5 seriously injured, admitted hospital, treatment police investigating, arrest lorry driver. So these are the hints you have, and how the news appears on the newspaper. In that manner, you need to write the news report here. So there's a sample answer on your screen. The topic, the title of the news you need to give: tragic accident in Bangalore claims 2 lives, including auto driver, and leaves 5 seriously injured. Bangalore, July 16th. Just like the newspaper. A devastating accident occurred in Bangalore today involving a collision between a lorry and an auto rickshaw, resulting in the tragic loss of 2 lives and leaving 5 individuals seriously injured. The incident took place. The incident took place at an intersection in the city during the early hours of the morning. The victims have been identified as the auto rickshaw driver and a passenger. The collision between the auto rickshaw and the lorry proved fatal for both of them. The impact of the crash was so severe that it caused extensive damage to the auto rickshaw, trapping the victims inside. Local authorities and emergency services rushed to the scene promptly to provide assistance. The injured individuals were carefully extricated from the wreckage and immediately transported to a nearby hospital for urgent medical attention. Reports from medical sources indicate that the injured are receiving necessary treatment and being closely monitored by the medical professionals. Dr. Rajesh Kumar, the chief medical officer at the hospital, stated, "We are deeply saddened by this unfortunate incident. Our priority right now is the well being of the injured and providing them with the best medical care possible." The Bangalore police have initiated a thorough investigation into the circumstances leading up to the accident. Preliminary reports suggest that the lorry driver may have failed to adhere to traffic signals, resulting in the collision. The police have taken the lorry driver into custody for questioning and to ascertain if there were any signs of negligence or recklessness involved. So this is how you need to draft a news report following the hints given. And this question is for 5 marks. And further, we have some more information. So the accident has once again sparked concerns about the road safety in the city. Many citizens are demanding strict enforcement of traffic rules and more stringent checks on commercial vehicles to prevent such tragic accidents from occurring in the future. As the city comes to terms with the heartbreaking incident, our thoughts and condolences go out to the families of the deceased, The local authorities are also extending their support to the injured individuals and their families during this challenging time. Next question you have here, you need to write a short essay on any one of the topics for 5 marks, the role of a teacher, the importance of discipline. I'm not given the answer to this question because everyone has a different way of writing the essay or the paragraphs. Just one thing you keep in the mind, your essay should consist of three important things. One is the topic sentence, content, and the concluding remark. The topic sentence should have 2-3 lines which speaks what are you talking about, then the description, then the conclusion. Now, 20 marks questions. 20 marks questions from the course book. So answer any 5 questions and each question is for 2 marks. Answer any 5 questions, each question is for 1 mark. Then what was the clever gentleman's advice to the son-in-law? He advised the son-in-law to accept the dowry even if it's a 10 rupees less. How many years did the son-in-law take to count the money? 24 years. He took 24 years. Why did the teacher leave the classroom at times in the lesson cartooning? Because he used to go to smoke outside. Mention the one thing the writer enjoyed the most in school in the lesson cartooning. The writer likes to pay attention to the text, meaning, and moral content of the lessons. He disliked the arithmetic class. What is the significance of Amarkantak mountain? Amarkantak mountain is a source of the rivers Namada, Son, Mahanadi, and they are to be targeted for the reserves as well as the lot of flora and fauna. Mention any 2 advantages of the free bird. The free bird sings rejoicing in its freedom. It has the ability to be adventurous and make decisions of its own. The poet admires the walls in the poem. No, it's a false statement. The poet does not admire. Then answer any 2 questions, each for 5 marks. Answer any 2 questions, each for 5 marks. And before we had 5 questions for 5 marks, each for 1 mark. Now here, out of 4 questions, you need to select only 2 questions, each for 5 marks. Give a brief character sketch of the son-in-law in the story Money. In Money, a story on dowry, the prospective son-in-law desires an amount of 1 crore rupees as dowry from the bride's father. He seeks the opinion of his elders on which option would be better for him, taking 1 crore rupees as a cash or taking a share in the property. He asks his would-be father-in-law which one would be more value. So knowing that taking property would be of 10 rupees more value, he decides to take the value of the property in cash. He reasons that his wife would inherit the property. So he reasons that dowry as money would always belong to him. Finally, he settles for the value of the property rupees 1 crore and 10 rupees as dowry. His father-in-law wants the satisfaction of giving money. Bride's father pays him the amount in 10 paisa coins. Coins worth 1 crore and 10 rupees are stored in bags in shade. Soon after the wedding, the son-in-law begins counting the coins. His counting goes on for 24 years. After counting for 24 years, he finds that the amount is less by 40 paisa. Later, he finds that his wife has got married to another person. He has a daughter also, and he has lost 1/3 of his life. Most of the elders who had blessed them on the wedding had passed away. Five governments have changed the state. His daughter has completed her graduation. Even she has also lost her father. She and her husband are working professionals. So this is the character sketch of son-in-law. Second question, explain the teacher, how the teacher influenced Lakshman to be a cartoonist of repute. Once before leaving to have smoke, the teacher gave a task to draw a leaf, any leaf. This task had engaged all the students creatively. One of them drew a banana leaf which was so big it went out to the wooden frame of the slate. Another boy announced loudly, I'm going to draw an elephant instead. When the teacher arrived, they were told to queue up and show their drawings. Sometimes he twisted the boy's ears, sometimes he beat the legs of the another by using cane. Having observed the author's drawing, the teacher questioned him if he had drawn. Later, he appreciated Lakshman's piece of art and showed to the whole class and remarked, You will be an artist one day, keep it up. Lakshman got 10 out of 10. The teacher was very much impressed by the perfect shape of people leaf and the details of the veins branching out along the midrib, which Lakshman used to see many times strewn on the road under the peepal tree, and therefore he could draw it effortlessly. This unexpected encouragement gave a birth to a new artist in Lakshman, and that was his destiny. His drawings could be seen on the floors, walls, and doors of his house. And finally, we can see R.K. Lakshman as the famous cartoonist of India. Next question for 5 marks. How is the contrast between the two birds brought out by the poet in the poem Caged Bird? The Caged Bird is a poem by Maya Angelou that explores the themes of freedom and oppression through the metaphor of a caged bird and a free bird. The contrast between these two birds is vividly portrayed to emphasize the stark differences between the captivity and freedom. So now we can see this contrast by using those key points. Number one, imagery and description. As far as the imagery and description is concerned, the poem describes the caged bird as having clipped wings and being confined in a narrow cage. The imagery of the caged bird's bar of rage, and shadow of grave conveys a sense of confinement, despair, and limitation. In contrast, in contrast, the free bird is described as having the open sky to fly in and the wind beneath its wings. This imagery paints a picture of freedom, limitless possibilities, and unbridled movement. Now, as for the sound and tone is concerned, what's the contrast? The caged bird is singing is described as a fearful trill, which indicates a sense of anxiety and sorrow. The tone is somber and reflects the bird's constrained existence. On the other hand, the free bird song is described as a caged bird sings with fearful trill of things unknown but longed for still. The tone here is longing and the optimistic tone. Now, as far as the parallel structure is concerned, the the poem uses a parallel structure to compare and contrast the experience of the caged bird and the free bird. The poet presents lines about the caged bird's struggles, fears, limitations, and limitations, followed by the lines about the free bird's unrestricted movement, free bird's unrestricted movements, and the joyful existence. This parallel structure emphasizes the juxtaposition between these two birds. Now, symbolism. The caged bird symbolizes oppression, discrimination, confinement, and often representing the African American experience during the times of racial segregation. The free bird symbolizes liberation, autonomy, and the yearning for equality. So, by juxtaposing these two symbols, the poet highlights the inequality and injustice faced by marginalized communities. Now, last point to bring a contrast, emotional impact. Through the contrast between the two birds, the poet evokes a strong emotional response from the reader. The caged bird's plight arouses feelings of empathy and indignation, while the free bird's imagery inspires a sense of longing for freedom and a brighter future. To conclude, in the poem Caged Bird, Maya Angelou skillfully employs these literary techniques to emphasize the sharp contrast between the confined, oppressed existence of the caged bird, the free, unincubated life of the bird that soars. This contrast serves as a powerful metaphor for the broader themes of human struggle, resilience, and the universal desire for liberation. Fourth question for 5 marks. How does the poet wish to demolish the walls in the poem Wall? The poem Wall is composed originally in Marathi language by a well-known Marathi poet D.S Dadhakar. It is translated to English by Priya Adarkar and Ashok Chakravarti. Wall has both literal and metaphoric significance. The world has been divided on the basis of caste, creed, religion, race, color, etc. Man has created artificial walls. In the name of walls, there are violence, discrimination, bloodshed, and death. The rational thinkers are against walls between human beings and have tried to demolish, but the conservatives, they try to retain them. So it takes revolts and revolution to demolish the walls in order to bring the world peace and harmony. In the present poem, the poet has taken a contract to demolish the walls of buildings and the villages' walls too. According to the poet, the world wars are fought for the walls of nations. He would like to demolish these walls as barriers among nations, and these walls are the witness of many generations' attempts to bring up such walls among them. He says that these walls were created by grandpas, which means old generations. It also means that new generation wants to break such walls among human beings. The poet questions if they really need to be so hardened to protect human beings. He suspects the circumstances where humans, where human beings are protected by such strong built walls. The poet further claims that many people had raised their hands against these walls before. In this course, many people had met with death, while others with victory, fluttering flags. History teaches the poet how his eyes entombed in walls and his sense of organs become mute like motionless refugees. The poet inquires that walls themselves had drudged them with opium and machinations in wall can be observed even today. It means that the wall themselves do not want to be demolished and they conspire among themselves to get more such walls. Due to such walls, people have become slaves of the age and are not bringing a change. The poet desires to break such walls and turn them into compass which directs people instead of building barriers among them. So this is how I have solved this question paper for the question paper of second semester BCom August 2023 examination of Bangalore North University, and this question paper can also be considered as a practice question paper for the Bangalore University students because syllabus is same and the question pattern is also same. So dear friends, thank you so much for watching this video. Dear friends, thank you so much for watching this video. You can reach me at @mukeshenglish@gmail.com. Please do subscribe the channel, click on the like button for more videos on literature, workbook, pronunciation, grammar, communication skills, presentation skills, interview skills. Stay in tune with Mukesh English. Thank you once again.